he's human at the end of the day, and I think there's no good or bad. It's just it is.
Jahi, Evan, it's wonderful to chat with you. Thank you so much.
How's it
How you
going?
doing, Steve?
Honestly, this show is phenomenal, and you two are so much joy watching you in this series. Love your characters, and I know since your characters are brothers, I know I have two boys. They don't always see the best in each other. So I was wondering for you both what you like best about the other character.
Hmm. I love how just blissful Einstein is and how much of an optimist he is. I think he has such a beautiful way of looking at the world and just this beautiful curiosity and him being inquisitive about everything. You have to be a very special kind of individual to turn down Harvard and MIT. To just as to chill and do pole vaulting. I think that's really really cool. I love the way Evan brought so many of his little nuances and his own sort of quirks to Einstein. Look at that, like that smile, that charm.
Oh
Yeah, yeah, I love Einstein. Great character to watch.
no, I love Harrison. I really loved. I think most his empathy. I think for I don't know. I just think he wasn't afraid to call people on their BS, and I think he was really firm in what he stood for, and that just was really inspiring. And I love that energy, and I love the way Jahi played his character. I think it was extremely um, just like dialed in and in a place of authenticity, and it felt so real, and it was so easy to play against him with my optimistic,
Mm.
kind of weird, quirky curiosity. So it was great. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that because your character Evan is so much brighter, but with Harrison, he's so focused. There's such different characters and there's such passion in him as well. Now I would ask you both a question here for you knowing your characters as you do, because you're thrust into this situation where your dad, David is wonderful in this. Dad or your dad comes home, and he's trying to make amends. Do you consider Hampton to be a good man?
I think that on the surface, Hampton comes across as the kind of person who's more concerned about being perceived as a good man than sort of actually putting like than trying to like actually be one. But I think he's the spiritual path that he's on. Um, now trying to live up to like a certain standard that he set for himself. So
Mm.
it's now forcing him to live up to everything that he's talking about being on the righteous path and carving out a future for his family. Now the pressure's on himself to make a better life for himself. I think that there are certain aspects of him that can be sort of self-centered and kind of like selfish and maybe he makes reckless decisions, but that's the human part of him too. Is I want to be the one that makes everything better and not necessarily realizing how that can sort of be muddy and affect other people and the other people being his two sons and his wife, and that's evident in the way he just kind of comes and says I'm home without any warning or any heads up, any call or anything
Yeah.
like that. So yeah, he's a such a nuanced character. I don't think that there's anything all the way good about him or all the way bad.
As you see him first enter the Chambers house, he's like, "Okay, I'm back. I'm here to fix everything." And it's like, "Whoa, what do we need right now?" So there's these things that I think he'll talk this big game, and then it's like, okay, now you need to put your money where your mouth is, because you're making all these promises and you're trying to fix all these things. So it's definitely um, a tricky position to be in, of course. But I think he's human at the end of the day, and I think there's no good or bad. It's just it is.
I love that aspect because that's why, as funny as the show is, these characters still feel very real. And with him and with both of you, and I know we're running out of time, but just as we wrap up, Hampton, I should say, Hampton seems to think it's never too late for family. I would just wonder how now with your characters and their tensions, what they would say to that.
I feel like Einstein would say the more the merrier. I think he's accepting of that, and I think he isn't. He's on his own path entirely, so I don't think he's as connected, I think, to the family or to family in that way as maybe Harrison might be, but I think he's happy to have everyone together.
Yeah, I think specifically with that scene, it was interesting because while I was doing it, I was trying to go back and forth between, Harrison really does want the family. He really does want that family unit. It's just been so long since there's been any sort of real affection between the four of them all together. And this is all coming after Hampton kind of just like forced himself back into their lives and like reinserted himself as the man of the house. And so, I think Harrison will eventually come around to the idea of Hampton being there. But just Hampton and his ways, and his lack of stability, it might take him a bit longer to get to a full place of trust in his dad being present in his life.
Well, I appreciate that for you both. Honestly, thank you so much for the time. The series is great. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Have a good day.
Have a great day. Thanks.